Here we are again, ready for more. This is Inspired Sports. My name is Alex Pratt alongside the Scott Jakeway. Scotty, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Alex. I'm here on the podcast with you. How are you doing?
Oh, listen, it's the best part of the week, and it's twice a week.
Best
So
part.
I know all of our listeners are extra excited because this is Monday night after all the football news. But
Good
I
stuff.
believe we have some special listeners.
We do. We have some new followers from my football team, Great Hearts Roosevelt Aces. But I promised too that I give them a shout out for this game last week. My all-star quarterback Daisy and my 3-touchdown receiver Ramey. How's it going, guys? Hope you're watching. Great job this Saturday. I'm very proud of you.
That's it. Coach Jakeway bringing
Yeah,
the shout outs for
dude.
the crew. Listen,
Yeah.
thank you to the Aces for listening to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration. And it's time for our trademark segment. Did that just happen? So, Scotty Jakeway, I have questions for you. And
I'm so excited.
the first one
Yeah.
comes from Monday Night Football. It was a doubleheader tonight. And in the first game, the Buccaneers beat the Texans 20-19. So, I have a question for you. They beat the Texans after Baker Mayfield marched him down the field for a game-winning drive as time expired. Well, I think there were 6 seconds left. But still, it leads me to this question. Scotty Jakeway, did Baker Mayfield just prove he's not a bust?
Listen, no. I had a feeling when I was watching this game that there was gonna be some Baker love popping up somewhere in the episode. But no, I mean Baker Mayfield, he's an amazing guy. I love him. He keeps it entertaining, but he's been in this league now. This is his 8th season, I believe.
That's correct.
And those first 5 seasons were so rocky, were so tough, were hard to watch. He's trending in the right direction, but I mean, his touchdowns, I looked it up because I just had a sneaking suspicion that Baker would pop up somewhere. 171 touchdowns versus 90 interceptions. Not elite material. So great season, great kickoff to this year. But no, I think he is still mediocre at best. So
Okay, so you're saying he's
I
still in the bust territory. As a number one
yeah,
overall pick, he's not done enough for you.
I would say he's moving slowly away from the bust category. Definitely not in my mind a bust, but he's not anywhere near an elite quarterback. He's not someone that I'm gonna pick on my fantasy football team. You know,
Yeah, because
he's
that's what all of our listeners are worried about, Scott, is your fantasy football team. That's what they all tuned
hey,
in to find out whether you had Baker Mayfield on your fantasy team.
he's a great guy. He's leading the Bucks. It's good. It's good, clean fun to watch. But no, he's still as a number one
Listen,
pick. There is an elite level that there's a standard for a number one
there we
pick, and
go.
he just hasn't risen to that
Okay,
standard. So no,
I've had enough
he doesn't do it
patience
for
for
me.
this. Okay, to most of our listeners know this because they are faithful and they know that I love my Kansas City Chiefs, but Baker Mayfield is my boy. Baker, touchdown maker. Listen, okay, you want to tell me he hasn't done enough to prove that he's not a bust? First of all, his rookie year, he set the record for the most passing touchdowns of any rookie ever. Now, that record was later broken by Justin Herbert, but still, he, at the time, had thrown more passing touchdowns his rookie season than any quarterback ever. So he started out right out the gate, not a bust. Okay. And he did it for the dysfunctional Browns. Okay. Do you know over the last 30 years, the only quarterback to win a playoff game for the Browns? Who is that now? Baker Mayfield. That's right. He beat the Steelers. And he took the Browns, who before he arrived, went, I believe they were 2-30, like over the previous 2 seasons, some insane number. They had 2 wins over 2 seasons. It was nuts. Okay, so he wasn't a bust to begin with. He was sent to the dysfunctional Browns. But I digress. He then goes to the Panthers. I'm going to tell a story here, Scotty Jakeway. Goes to the Panthers, who somehow at that time, under Coach Matt Rule, they may have been even more dysfunctional than the Browns. And he's there in a quarterback competition with Sam Darnold. It doesn't go well for him or for Sam, but they're both gone the next year. But then he ends up with Sean McVay for about 2 weeks, and he pulls off Thursday Night Magic. And I know you remember when I was blowing up your phone, just screaming about Baker, leading them on a 90-yard game-winning touchdown drive. I say all that to say it got him a chance in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's given him finally some security, some consistency. But did you know this? I'm gonna share this fact for all of our listeners and for you, okay? Baker Mayfield, as you said, has been in the league 8 years. Do you know how many offensive coordinators Baker Mayfield has had in 8 years?
7.
10. He has had
10.
more offensive coordinators than he has had years in the league. Because remember,
Wow.
he went from he played for multiple teams in the same year. So he has had 10, and he has only
True.
ever had an offensive coordinator twice that was the same one. So he had Alex Van Pelt for 2 years in Cleveland. Every other year of his career, he's had a different one on a different team. His last 2 offensive coordinators in Tampa Bay are now head coaches, Liam Cohen for the Jaguars and Dave Canales for the Panthers. He's getting guys jobs because he's so awesome. Over the last 2 seasons, he's thrown, actually, last 2 seasons and the first 2 games of this year, he's thrown 71 passing touchdowns. That's more than everyone else except for Jared Goff. And until Sunday, he was in front of Jared Goff, but Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield is not only not a bust. Baker Mayfield, for the amount of money he's being paid, is the biggest steal of all quarterbacks in the league. Baker Mayfield has won a playoff game for the Buccaneers since he arrived. He has won the division both years that he was there, and he's going to win it again this year. They're off to a 2-0 start. Baker, touchdown maker. If you're not on the bandwagon, it's time to jump on this dreamsicle dreamboat being driven by Baker Mayfield down the street, and it's marching toward the playoffs, and I think it's going to have some victories in those playoffs.
Oh
Got
my
it out.
gosh.
Finally got to have my Baker rant.
It's one of those, you just gotta sometimes sit back and let that friend just talk, and you just kinda have to just smile and nod like, "Okay," have that moment. I mean, Baker Mayfield had the stats for a great quarterback in 2024, but career-wise, I mean, if you were to rank the number 1 quarterbacks, I still don't think he's in the top 5,
I don't think
since he's
okay,
been in the
okay,
league,
top
so,
5. I'll accept that. He may not be a top 5
I
quarterback.
mean,
He's absolutely a top 10 quarterback, and I would say he's closer to 7. I mean, if we listen, we'll save that. We'll
that'd be
save
a
our
that'd be that'd be a good
rankings.
rank.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly. We both
yeah,
just had the same
yeah.
thought live on the recording. Hey, don't say your quarterback rankings. We'll save that for our next show. Maybe on Thursday, you and
Exactly.
I will do a rank it battle over we'll just rank the top 5 or top 7 quarterbacks in the league.
Let's
And
do
we'll
it,
put them
let's
in
do it.
order, and mine will be right, just like my rookie ones from 2024, and yours will be wild and
Oh,
outrageous.
I'm pretty sure if you watched any sort of, other sports
I don't watch
news,
any other sports news, Scott Jakeway,
you
none
know,
whatsoever.
they
I just
they
turn
they they
on our
duplicated
podcasts.
our rankings of the 2024,
Are you seeing that
quarterbacks,
out
and
there too? Listen, we're not gonna drop any names, but
I'm
I am seeing our material out there. People are listening. People are
yeah,
like, "Wow, those guys have it together." But I digress. Here
yep.
we go. Next question. Did that just happen? Listen, there's a
Okay,
huge Sunday worth of football, and Scotty Jakeway, here's my question for you. Did Tom Brady
okay.
just call the Eagles out for cheating? Because on Sunday in Fox's game of the week in that late window, Tom Brady was on the call with Kevin Burkhardt. And as the Eagles were doing the tush push, Tom Brady came back from commercial and in slow mo showed you multiple times that the Eagles' offensive linemen were jumping on a false
Right.
start that wasn't being called. So, Scott Jakeway, I ask you, did the GOAT just call the Eagles cheaters?
It's more like the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, it's like, let's I mean, when a cheater it takes a cheater to know a cheater kinda thing? And so did they cheat? I've been saying this for a long time. The tush push, I mean, the false start for me is, like, the least of everyone's worries. When you have the entire team shoving one man, like, across the goal line, I can't see how that's not already considered cheating. It just feels wrong. It feels like just one of those advantages. Now, hear me out. I will say they perfected it like no other team has. And so props to them, but it just has always felt like a cheat code. So to then go on saying that like, oh, they're successful at it because they false start just feels a little disingenuous because for me, that doesn't feel like it's the competitive edge as much as 10 other guys just shoving Jalen Hurts
But
across
but
the goal
what
line.
you've done
So,
here is you've created a multifaceted argument for why it is terrible for football, and we're gonna agree on this one. Well,
oh
you and
yeah,
I, that's
yeah,
it's rare, but we agree. The tush push, first of all, the play itself is it doesn't feel like football, it feels like rugby.
no,
It's not supposed to
yeah,
be
oh
rugby.
yeah,
This is American football. Nothing against rugby, it's a great watch, but it doesn't look like anything else because it doesn't fit
no,
into American football. And the problem with just saying, well, they're really good at it and no one else is just as good as them, then now they've moved into an area where they're actually false starting. And if you're going to false start, you're going to get that yard every single time. I can make the case if you watch the footage, it's super obvious. You can see it from above, you can see it from the sideline view, you can see it when you're watching. Both teams now, when this play happens, no matter who's lining up, whether it was the Chiefs or anyone else they face, both teams are in the neutral zone. The
yeah,
center is over the top of the ball, which in and of itself is not allowed. The ball has to be in front of the center. They're breaking multiple rules. It's like no ref just wants to be the one to start the trend, right? Because once you start calling the false start, you got to watch that and see it every time. Specific to the Chief game, and then I'll be done. I will say two things. One, it wasn't just Tom Brady who called them out for cheating. You know how every NFL broadcast now has a rules expert or a rules analyst? Probably the most respected one, Dean Blandino for Fox, comes back and I quote Scotty Jakeway, he says during the broadcast, I am done with the tush push. It just can't be officiated. And I hear those rules guys all the time, and they're almost annoying. It's like they come on, and it's like when you used to be in school, and the administrators would come over the loudspeaker, and they only ever had bad news. And so like the rules analysts just come on and they tell you all the reasons why you're angry and you shouldn't be and the refs were right. But for once I heard the rules analyst Dean Blandino come on and say something I was like, finally, someone's being honest. Because it can't be officiated. And lastly, one of the reasons it can't be officiated, what happened in the Chiefs game, Jalen Hurts fumbled. But because they couldn't see it, when he and Drew Tranquil come out of the pile with the ball at the same time, they go, well, Jalen had it first. There's no way they could be honest and say we saw the ball come out. There's also no way they could be honest and say we don't know that it came out. It is bad for football. And in March, the owners of the NFL had an opportunity to vote it out, and it fell short by 2 votes. I don't think that's going to happen again this offseason. I think it'll be gone. This is the last year of the tush push. If it's not, the NFL's got a problem.
I was just about to say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it makes you wonder. There's no greater voice, in regards to like influence, probably than Tom Brady, in our era of football. And so it's almost like, hey, if we could, maybe if we get someone as big as him and maybe the officiating, rules judges to start talking about it, that then all of a sudden you start to turn the tide a little bit because I was surprised it didn't get outlawed, this last season. But when it fell short by 2 votes, it kind of makes you wonder. It's like, okay, we're gonna start, highlighting why this should be because as we all know, public outcry tends to get things done. So you start to get things rolling via the commentary, then the conspiracy theorist in me says that's what they're doing to get it to
Well, if
become
you're going to open
illegal
that door
next
for
season.
me, I
So,
can tell you that today Rex Ryan, who's no longer a coach but an analyst, came out and said that, and I quote, that he believes it's being coached that they're jumping off sides because
oh,
he
yeah,
believes their coaches are telling them they're not going to call it. Just go that half beat early. And so it's gotten lost. Anyway,
yeah,
everyone's tired of the tush
yeah.
push. I'm tired of talking about the
Yeah.
tush push even. We're moving right along. No more tush push.
Next.
Number 3,
Next.
one last did that just happen for you, Scotty Jakeway? Did
Okay,
cool
yeah.
Joe Burrow just become glass Joe Burrow? Because Joe Burrow is out for 3 months because he needs surgery on his grade 3 turf toe injury. He's out for 3 months, Scotty Jakeway. Is he glass Joe Burrow?
I would like to say this is a surprise to me, but at the end of the day, the guy gets hurt every season, it feels like. And so, for me, I wanna take time to say this is possibly the opportunity for me to say, like, "Hey, my Super Bowl prediction didn't
Oh,
come true because the quarterback got hurt,
Don't you
and
dare
they
turn
they
his
couldn't make it to the
injury
Super
into
Bowl
your
with
excuse to
second.
get out of your
I
Super Bowl
mean,
prediction.
yeah, I mean, I when I saw that, honestly, hope he gets better, fast recovery. But if I would be lying if I didn't say, like, the very first thing I thought of was like, hey, now my Super Bowl prediction is a little safe
Get out of
because
jail free card. His injury is your
yeah,
get out of
I
jail
mean,
free card. All right. Tell the listeners, if it's not the Bengals, I'm going to let you out of it because I get it. You can't
okay.
expect the backup quarterback to take the team to the Super Bowl. We don't think Jake Browning is a bad quarterback, but he is not Joe Burrow. So I hope you're prepared because we didn't talk about this, but if you're kicking the Bengals out of your Super Bowl prediction, you had Bengals Lions. Who is going to be facing off against the Lions?
You know what? I don't wanna say it, but I'm after 2 weeks, I mean, I've had a little advantage now seeing 2 weeks. I like the Bills. I like the Bills. I think they're strong. Josh
I love
Allen
it.
is doing Josh
I
Allen
love it
things.
so
It's
much.
kinda like Josh Allen, like, okay, let me put it this way, Joe Burrow, I mean, without getting too slanderous, Joe Burrow is kind of like the Temu version of Josh Allen in my mind. Josh Allen is everything we hope that Joe Burrow would be, but Josh Allen doesn't get hurt every 6 weeks. So, I like the Bills, so I'm going Bills Lions is my new updated Super Bowl
Oh, okay,
prediction.
okay. I'll let you do Bills Lions. I have no problem with that because the Bills play the Chiefs in the playoffs and they lose. That's just what they do. It's literally a tradition. It's like Thanksgiving and like Christmas, and then the Bills lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, or I'm sorry, in the playoffs. It's perfect. I November Thanksgiving, December Christmas, January Bills lose to Chiefs in the playoffs. Perfect. I'm glad you chose them. You will see it again this year.
Yeah.
But if you get to change one of your Super Bowl picks, can I change one of mine? Is that fair?
You know what? This is our show, so we get to write the rules, so sure, why
Our
not?
picks have
Yeah,
our
go
picks
for
have
it.
no integrity here.
Listen, I'll tell you why I'm willing. I'm feeling a little generous is because my newly founded Arizona Cardinal
Mm,
fandom, they're 2-0, and I believe your Chiefs are 0-2. So
on the
I
verge of a
I kind of
revenge
I
tour.
kind of feel I feel bad for you a little bit. So if you want to change one of your Super Bowl picks,
Okay.
I'll look down on you and say
I'm
yes.
gonna
So
change it. I'm gonna change mine. I had picked the Commanders,
okay,
and I just feel like I betrayed my homeboy. And after
okay.
watching him the last 2 weeks, I'm all in on Baker Mayfield. I think they are going to smash the NFC South division. I think they have a real
Mm,
shot at. You know what? I'll just go ahead and put it down. I'll put it down right now that the Buccaneers are going to be the 1 seed. They are going to be the 1 seed in the NFC, and it's going to be Chiefs Bucks in the Super Bowl. And when that happens, you and I are going to the Super Bowl because Baker and
it's
Mahomes
in
in the
San
same
Francisco.
game. I don't even know what jersey I'd wear. I'd literally have to cut these in half and sew them together. I'd be like the Kelsey's mom. I'd be like Donna Kelsey at the Super Bowl with a half Eagles, half Chiefs jersey. I'm just like, that's right. I just compared myself to Donna Kelsey. I hope that we may need to edit that out, but still.
Fantastic. No, that's staying in there for
Yeah.
sure. We've already gone way off the rails on this question, so I am going to take the time to throw out there that my prediction last episode of the Lions just completely smashing the Bears did come true. We'll talk a little more about that in the next segment. But I will say that Dan Campbell did exactly what I thought Dan Campbell would do, and not go for a field goal on fourth down, but hey, let's score another touchdown because why not? So
Dan the wild card Campbell, just like Scotty wild card Jakeway. I get it. I want to get
yeah,
in on the Joe
yeah.
Burrow answer, and I'll keep it super short.
Okay, go
He
go
is
for it.
definitely
Yeah.
glass Joe Burrow, and if you grew up, in the '90s and were born in the '80s like me, that glass Joe reference is reference to the awesomeness that was the Nintendo Mike Tyson's Punch Out game.
Yes.
But if you don't know, otherwise you can just pretend that you think Joe Burrow is made out of glass because apparently he is. He missed 6 games for a knee injury in 2020. He missed 7 games for a wrist injury in 2023. And this year, he's going to miss a minimum of 12 weeks for a toe injury. It doesn't matter what your ability is if
One.
you're not available. right? The old adage of availability is the best ability. I don't think that's actually true, but it is a prerequisite for accomplishment, and he's just not there. So I think he's definitely glass Joe Burrow. It is not a good sign because he continues to take hits. He just continues to find himself behind an inadequate offensive line, and he's getting hurt. So we do wish,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, we wish Joe Burrow the best in a speedy recovery. I'd love to see him on the field again this year, just for the sake of good football.
Yes.
But I just think last Joe Burrow sounds a lot better than cool Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it's like he took the song Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes and made it a checklist on what body part I'm gonna get injured with this season. So,
Well
uh,
played,
uh
Scotty Jakeway.
anyways, speaking of teams that, possibly need to, panic a little bit, let's go into our next segment. Little segment I wanna call, Panic or Pause.
Mm,
Now let me set this up for you because this is a little new one for us. I wanna run down all the teams that are 0 and 2 so far this year,
yes.
and I wanna hear from you, and I'll chime in a little bit myself, uh, whether or not the team is in panic mode after going 0 and 2, or whether to put a little pause on it because there's not enough evidence there to you know make them panic quite yet. So 0 and 2 teams, there's 8 of them. So you ready for this? I'm
Bring
gonna
him.
I'm gonna give them to you one at a
We'll
time.
keep it
I'll
quick.
let you say your little
Rapid
piece.
fire.
Yeah, we'll keep it quick. So first one, the Texans. We just saw them play tonight. Now 0 and 2. So should the Texans panic or should they
I
pause?
think they should panic. I mean, we have a long history of CJ Stroud. We think he's an awesome guy,
Yeah.
but I think they should panic because they were a playoff team last year, and now they're 0 and 2, which is doesn't by itself mean they need to be in panic mode. But Scotty Jakeway, they scored 9 points in week one. They scored 19
Yes.
points tonight. Over two games, they've got what, 28 points? I mean, it's scary. And I don't see
Yeah.
how that offense is going to get any better. Joe Mixon is still injured. He is still out. They don't really have a return date for him. And Nick Chubb was a good pickup, but he's not Joe Mixon at this point in his career. So
No.
I think there's panic in Houston. Houston, we have a problem.
I would say, with CJ Stroud at the helm, I don't think it's quite panic
Mm.
time yet. I would say it's pause. Here's the thing: they're figuring out the running back. If they can figure the run game out, I think they're fine. I think the whole concept of them not scoring very many points is because they're a one dimension team right now. Figure that out. If they can get on board and finally get a run game, I think they're fine. So not quite panic for me yet there in
All right.
Texas. But next one. I feel like, I would love to hear your take on it. The Chiefs, your beloved Chiefs, 0 and 2, panic or
Okay,
pause?
a super quick take on this. If Travis Kelsey had retired after the Super Bowl, the Chiefs would be 2-0. If Travis Kelsey, I love him. I love Travis Kelsey, but if he had retired, they'd
Yeah.
be 2-0 because Xavier Worthy wouldn't have gotten injured in the first quarter of the Chargers game, and I believe that they would have won that game. And certainly, I don't think Noah Gray would have dropped the ball on a 4-yard pass that was going to lead to a touchdown and bobble it in the hands of the Eagles defensive back who ran it back and they scored a touchdown on that possession. So that was just a quick take about how Travis Kelsey's made us 0 and 2. But
I
nonetheless, I think
mm,
it's pause. They've been to the Super Bowl 3 straight years.
mm,
And listen, they played probably the two hardest first games of any team in the league. First of all, they had to go to Brazil and play the Chargers, a playoff team. They had to play the defending Super Bowl champions at home after traveling back from Brazil, and their weapons are gone. When you don't have your best receiver or your second best receiver, and then Hollywood
no.
Brown goes out for part of the game, so he doesn't have for his third best receiver, Patrick Mahomes, to throw to. There's just a lot of things that are contributing to this. So I think it's pause, but you can go ahead and try and sound the panic button. Hit the panic button, Scotty Jakeway.
Listen, it's the Taylor Swift effect. I knew it was eventually gonna kick in somewhere. We were riding a wave there for a couple years, and I think it's panic. I think when first of all, injuries are one thing, but then when you have your all-star tight end who is definitely not focused on football, I mean, I wouldn't be focused on football if I was planning a wedding, to a billionaire,
No, fault.
rightfully
I'm sorry, I
so.
gotta interrupt you. He
I
he is
I
not
mean,
planning a bit of that. He might be picking out his tux. If it no every man who's gotten married
it's
knows
it's
this.
on his
It
mind.
is you are not
It's on his
planning a
mind.
thing. Scotty Jakeway, I was in your wedding. and I don't believe you were planning that wedding. You knew what time to show up. I still have my groomsman gift that you gave me all these years later as a fly watch, just in case you guys are wondering what it was. And I'm telling you right now, are you going to tell the listeners that you were a in-depth part of the planning of your wedding?
No, I definitely was not, but however, it was on the back of my mind, and if I was trying to go out every Sunday and win a football game, it would definitely be something I'm thinking about. So, for me, the Chiefs need to panic because they're injured and they're love struck. So, definitely not a good combination. But let's go to the next one, the Bears. Panic or pause, in your opinion, after starting
Oh,
0 and
listen,
2? I definitely know what I would
yeah, I
say.
know exactly how you feel about the Bears. I'm gonna say panic. I think Caleb looks lost. He doesn't look like he's processing. And here's
Shocker.
my little nugget for this, and I'll get out of your way. They signed in the offseason their backup quarterback, Tyson Bagent. They signed him to the second highest annual salary of any backup quarterback other than Kirk Cousins. He's making it like 40 million a year, but no one really considers that. That's a weird situation. He didn't go there to be a backup. So
Right.
Tyson Bagent, who was there to be the backup, they gave him a 2-year extension, 2 years, $10 million, making him $5 million a year. That's the same as Drew Lock, and it's like top three. So why are they giving the backup in the offseason when Ben Johnson gets there and sees Caleb? Why are they giving the backup so much money? Just weird little conspiracy theory, but I do think it's panic.
I have seen being that I've lived in Arizona all my life, even though I'm just recently a Cardinals fan, I have seen the Cardinals come and go with many of quarterbacks that they thought were going to be the next savior of the franchise, and I feel like that's what Caleb Williams is. I feel like, he is, as I've said several times in the last 2 weeks, he's trash. I think he's hot garbage. I don't think he's proven himself at any point, and I think he's more of a media entertainment than anything. And so I think there's a reason why they're paying their backup quarterback because I have a feeling that if he doesn't prove himself shortly, this might be one of his last years being a starter. They
Wow,
can't get rid of him.
you're
They've paid
basically
him too
saying
much
the Bears
money,
are gonna
but
turn him into Josh Rosen. They're just gonna
yeah,
say, "We don't
exactly.
care that we drafted you. We're gonna draft Kyler Murray after." You think they're just gonna take another quarter and be like, "This guy ain't it."
No, I think that if they're a top 5 draft pick next year, I think they go quarterback, and I think we see Caleb Williams, bye-bye.
Scotty
And
Wildcard Jakeway
so
bringing it again.
yeah, yeah. So we all know how I feel about the Bears, so that was an easy one, but let's go to the next one. How about our Dolphins? How are we thinking about the
I can't
Dolphins?
even
0 and
talk about
2.
Dolphins. 5-second take here. Dolphins panic. They have no leadership. It looks like Mike McDaniel's lost the locker room. Tyreek Hill is running amok, and I don't mean on the field. I mean just causing
Yeah.
chaos everywhere. Total panic.
I think panic. I mean, when your locker room looks like a rave and your head coach who is supposed to be serious and focused is cracking jokes on the sideline. As much as I'm a sanguine, love to party, love to be the life of the party. I think the head coach has to have a different way of doing things. I think he was trying to do something and it's just fallen flat. I think Tua has had about 6 concussions too many, and I think when you have the Cheetah and Tua, and they can't do anything, I think it's panic. I think that
We
they're
agree on that
overhyped.
one.
Yeah, that one's easy. So let's move on to the next one. How about the Titans?
Oh,
What are we thinking on the
I'm
Titans?
saying I know they're
Panic
0
or
and 2.
or
I know they're 0 and 2, and they lost to the Broncos and the
yeah.
Rams. I say pause, because Cam Ward looks
Mm,
like he's got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not just a
yeah.
playmaker. He can make those crazy plays, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the play that he made where he threw across his body. This guy, Jake Way, he ran straight toward the sideline and then spun and threw it all the way
Mhm.
back across his body. He must have thrown the ball. It must have traveled forward probably 15 yards, but it must have traveled in total 50 yards. It was one of the craziest. I think it's the throw of the year so far. So I like Cam Ward. I think he's going to be okay. The roster's not there to be a good team yet. So I just say give him some time. Pause.
If there was a middle between pause and panic, I would say that's where the Titans
When is
are.
the middle of
I don't
pause
think
and panic?
I
I'm going to
I
try and think of that.
I think of that while I'm talking. I think that they're not quite at a pause stage. When you have a top quarterback coming out of, rookies, a rookie quarterback like they have in Cam Ward, I feel like you're like, "Okay, let's give him some time." But at the same time, I feel like in the back of your head, you as a franchise, you've been down this road before, and I feel like it's like you wanna pause, but at the same time, it's natural to panic. So I feel like they're kind of in that middle ground. So for me, I'm going more of panic, but at the same time, I do understand it's a rookie quarterback, 2 starts. Let's give him some time. So in my mind, they're middle ground, which is rightfully so because they're the middle of our teams that we're going down the list.
I
So
got
for
it.
me,
I got
middle.
it. I got
Uh
it.
oh, okay.
Precarious.
Precarious. Yeah,
Pause,
we'll go precarious.
precarious, or panic. No,
Yeah,
that's terrible. Come
precarious.
on, don't pretend that was good. That was awful. It is pause or panic. Those are your only options. Next team.
All right, next team, the
The
Browns.
Br
The Browns. Tell me what you
Okay,
think.
I think I'm gonna
I
shock
mean,
you with this one. All right? I think
okay.
it's pause. I truly think they're in a soft tank. They're
No,
but think about
but
what their goal is. Think about what their goal is. They're yes, they are, as you like to say, trash, but they're trying to be trash, okay? You can't convince me that what they're putting out on the field is they're taking this seriously. I think they're in a soft tank. They're just gonna kinda mess around, see what happens. Maybe Shador pops, maybe Dylan Gabriel pops, maybe Joe Flacco pops his ACL. I don't know, but they're not taking it seriously. So there's no reason to panic because they're executing their plan of a soft tank and they're trying to get a top 5 pick.
my thought is this is they're trying to do something. I think they're the laughing stock of the
Yeah,
NFL, to be quite honest. And
and
so
Baker
for
won a
me,
playoff
it
game there.
yeah, well, okay, I like how you did that. I think for me, it's like, hey, we're so terrible that everyone thinks it's more of a like a pause. Like no one thinks we're really but I think this is really who the Browns are. I think they're panicking. I think that they're like, hey, we have signed a record number of quarterbacks and like we have a 53-man roster and we have how many quarterbacks taking up the roster spots? Not to mention Deshaun Watson hanging
Oh,
out
man.
somewhere in the locker room. Like, I mean, they've got so many quarterbacks and yet somehow they still can't figure it out. So here's my prediction. I say if we see Shador in the next 2 weeks starting, it's panic mode.
Oh,
I think that
really?
it's like I feel like it's if they go to Shador that quickly, then they're panicking. I feel like if they still stay with the Joe Flacco, Gabriel kinda combo, I think they're in the pause mode. "Hey, let's just get to the end of the season, be top 5 pick, like, semi-tank it." But if they go to Shador, that's when you know they're panicking. I think that that's when they're like, "Nothing else is working, so let's throw him
Good
out
call.
there." But yeah, so for me, that's how it is. So let's go to the next one, Jets. 0-2 Jets. Are you pausing or are you panicking if you're the New York Jets?
I'm pausing. I'm pausing. I know they're 0-2, and Justin Fields might be injured. They're kind of feeling that out for the Sunday. We'll see if he plays.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor's getting ready. But I think it's pause for one simple reason. It's Aaron Glenn's first year. He's 2 games in. I don't think that there's anyone trying to hit the panic button on a coach 2 games in with a quarterback that they only signed to a 2-year deal. He's a stopgap. Unless Justin Fields just absolutely exploded like Baker Mayfield did for the Bucks, he's gonna be gone anyway. So, I don't even know if that
Mm.
second year of his contract has any guaranteed money, which really makes it into a one-year deal. So, I think it's definitely just it's pause. Aaron Glenn's figuring out what's next.
It's shocker. If you saw my reaction, it's not because I disagreed with you. It's because I agree
Oh,
with
really?
literally everything you just said. So no need for me to, repeat what you just said because I feel like out of a rare occasion, that's one that I can say, yeah, I feel the exact
Nice.
same way. So Jets, pause. Let's move on. So very last one. Let's go Giants. What are we feeling on the Giants?
See, I think the Giants is panic for the same reason that I thought the
Mm,
Jets was pause. I think Brian
okay.
Daboll is and Joe Shane, the GM there, are on the hot seat. The owner, John Mara, has already said he expects results this year, meaning, "Hey, guys, I'm putting you on alert. This you're going to be judged harshly on this year." They're 0-2, and we've yet to see Jackson Dart, and they just lost a game that, by all accounts, you put up 37 points, or there was 34 for them. Either way, 37, 34 points, and you lose in overtime, that's demoralizing. So the Giants, they need to panic.
Actually, Alex, the same reason why I am saying panic to the Browns, I'm saying pause to the Giants, because their quarterback room is stacked. I mean, we gave Russell Wilson a pretty hard time an episode or two ago, and homeboy threw for 450 yards on Sunday. And now I know it's against the Cowboys, but you can't really fault that. I mean, he threw for 450 yards. We still have Jameis Winston era coming around the corner, and we haven't even seen Dart play yet. So
If
their
you have
quarterback room is
3
strong.
quarterbacks, you have none.
Listen, but my thing is that not only do they have 3 quarterbacks, but they have Cam Scatterboo at running back, who is, in my mind, a bad man. And if I had to give him a comparison, he's going to be the next Jerome Bettis. I mean, that guy is plowing
I'm sorry, you
through
just said Cam
defenses.
Scatterboo is gonna be a Hall of Fame running back. That's what you
That's
just
right.
said, Cam Scatterboo.
I'm calling
This is
it.
the second episode in a row you've tried to squeeze Cam Scatterboo in, and the only reason is because everyone likes to say Cam Scatterboo.
I mean, he's got a sweet name. I can't deny that. But I think he is going to eventually find his bearings, and he's going to be a bad man, as you said a couple episodes ago. So I'm stealing your phrase there, because I like what I see in the Giants. And maybe it's just because I have so much hate for the Dallas Cowboys, but in my mind, they have something that is eventually going to click. So for the Giants, I'm putting pause. So that brought us to the end of our own 2 teams, but for me, that's okay because now we're at my favorite part of the podcast. We have said it time and time again. This is the most important part
Yeah.
of what we do. It's the thing that me and you both look forward to getting to do, and I'm so excited because our devotion tonight is brought to you by no other than my buddy Alex Pratt. So Alex, go ahead and take it away. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
That's me. Thank you for the intro. I'm sharing a devotional tonight called The Intangibles. And Scott, I know you watch just as much sports as I do and just as much sports coverage. And it seems like you can't go one broadcast, whether it's a game or whether it's one of the sports talk shows, without hearing someone say that a player just has the intangibles. And they're like, "Hey, he's a great leader. He's the ultimate competitor." And they keep talking about these things that you can't really quantify, that there aren't any stats for. He's the kind of player that every coach wants to coach. And it's like all of these cliches. And what it means is it just basically means he works hard and people like him. But it's important to mention because they think it's a wonderful thing about them, but it's an intangible thing. And the truth is, it seems like you want to try to figure out a way to measure those things, but there's no stat for who led the NFL in enthusiasm or accountability. Like those, just they aren't stats. You can't find them on the back of a football card or anything like that. But they're obviously very, very important. And not only can you not quantify them, you can't hold them in your hand. By definition, that's exactly what an intangible is. It's something that you cannot hold in your hand or have a feel for. But I think it's really important because it reminds me of something that I've realized about God. And the truth is that I believe this with all of my heart. Many of the very best things that God gives us are intangible. Things like forgiveness, love, the love of God, hope, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and wisdom comes to mind. And truthfully, that's the intangible that I want to talk about today. And so I just want to share for a few minutes on wisdom, because wisdom's like this really cool thing that no one really argues about as far as like, yeah, I want wisdom. No one's like, you know what? I really wish I had less wisdom. This wisdom keeps getting in the way. And so it's this thing that everyone talks about. Everybody wants it. It sounds great. It's perfectly intangible because obviously you cannot hold it. And there are some people who already think they have all of the wisdom they will ever need. I certainly was one of those people as a teenager. But I think even now, as an adult, I have realized that there is a limitless amount of room for wisdom in our lives, especially when it's godly wisdom. And in my life, I've heard a lot of different definitions for the word wisdom. And you can go with a standard dictionary definition. But my favorite is this: true wisdom is the result of humility, discernment, and faith coming together for God's purposes. I'm going to say it one more time because just in case you're listening, that might have been a lot to take in. True wisdom is the result of humility, discernment, and faith coming together for God's purposes. And when those things combined, wisdom abounds. It's everywhere and it's in action as well, which is important. It's one thing to have wisdom, but to put it into action really is a must so it can be used for God's purposes. And the truth is, this is a really simple thing. God desires for us to be wise. James chapter 1, verse 5 says this: "If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking." It's kind of like you and I are both dads. Well, we both have kids. And if our child came and said, "Father, please give unto me wisdom," we would be like, "Yes, I give unto you the wisdom." But when our kid comes and like, "Can I have ice cream for breakfast?" We're like, no, because there's no wisdom in that. So it's this thing that when we think about it, we ask God for wisdom, but he's a father. He's happy and glad to give us wisdom. And I encourage you, I don't have time to go into all of it, but if you go back and you read the rest of James chapter 1, you'll find out some of the prerequisites for wisdom and not being double-minded, as the Bible says, and tossed like a wind-whipped wave. But I'll leave that for some further discovery for our listeners. They can go back and read James chapter 1, because one of the things that I want to get across to our listeners very specifically is that often when we are looking for wisdom, we confuse that with looking for a wise answer. We're in a moment of time. We're in a situation or a problem or something has come up and we're like, man, I just need some wisdom. But it's not that God wants to give us a fleeting revelatory moment. It's that God wants to help us become wise. It's not just a quick answer to a situation or a problem, which leads me to say this. This is probably the best way to say it. Wisdom isn't an answer, it's an attribute. It's something that you are. It's not an answer to your situation or your problem. And when you allow the Holy Spirit to develop wisdom in your life, the Holy Spirit will compel you into situations, out of situations, give you understanding that you didn't think possible, all so that you can grow in wisdom and so that you can achieve what God has set in front of you. And I just truly believe that wisdom is one of those things that is so easy to toss aside and be like, yes, God, can you please give me some wisdom and a raise at work and a new car? And it's like, yes, those tangible things, it is okay to ask the Lord for the tangible things that you need. That's not where this devotional is going. I'm not saying you shouldn't ask for those things. I'm saying there's something that pleases the heart of God when we ask for wisdom, because he is the source of all truth and he is the source of all wisdom. And I believe he wants to give that to us. And I can think of no better example, and I'll share this quickly, than that of Solomon in the Bible. And listen, I'm going to give you the abridged version. Again, further discovery, please go read all of, 1 Kings chapter 3. You can also find it as well. For 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 9 through 14 is what I'm going to share with you. And God says this to Solomon. He says, "What do you want? Ask, and I will give it to you." And this is Solomon's response. And it's going to take me just a second, but it's so good. I want our listeners to hear it. "Give me an understanding." This is his response to God. "Give me an understanding heart so that I can govern your people well and know the difference between right and wrong. For who by himself is able to govern this great people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for wisdom. So God replied, "Because you have asked for wisdom in governing my people with justice and have not asked for a long life or wealth or the death of your enemies, which are all tangible. Long life, you're alive, you can feel, right? The death of your enemies, that's also physical, that's tangible. And wealth, obviously, money, cash, cars, clothes, whatever you want to call it, tangible." What he's saying is, you asked for the intangible. You asked for wisdom. You asked for something that wasn't truly for yourself as well, but so that you could govern the people. He said, "I will give you what you asked for, and I will give you a wise and understanding heart, such as no one else has had or ever will have. And I will also give you what you did not ask for, riches and fame. No other king in all the world will be compared to you for the rest of your life. And if you follow me and obey my decrees and my commands as your father, David did, I will give you a long life." And I just love that moment where there are definitely key moments in our life where what's revealed is our heart behind a situation. And for Solomon, he said, "Give me wisdom." I think the humility that I talked about earlier was there because he said, "I don't know how to do this." And then he mixed it with the faith of God can help me in this, right? It's funny to me that we so often look for answers in other people. And while God can bring answers through other people, I think he'd rather speak wisdom into our hearts and into our spirits, and allow us to search for him and to seek him for the guidance that we need in our life. And so for all of our listeners out there, I hope that you're understanding that it isn't just meant to be this fleeting moment of revelation, this wisdom, but that it is supposed to be an attribute that is alive in your heart and being developed by the Holy Spirit. So I have a challenge for all of our listeners, and that is this week, today, soon, maybe even right now, ask God to help you grow in wisdom so that you can be wise by his standards. And one last reminder, I just want the people to know this. True wisdom is a result of humility, discernment, and faith coming together for God's purposes. We hope you have an incredible week here at Inspired Sports. Scotty Jakeway, what do you want to tell the people?
Alex, that was so good. That was the first time I heard that. I hope our listeners know that as much as we plan, a lot of our podcast is wrapped around kind of being real and raw in the moment.
Yeah.
And that is such a powerful reminder, because working with the youth and young adults and all the
Aces.
different ages, the aces, being a youth leader in our church, we talk wisdom a lot,
Yeah.
because a lot of times people get being smart and being wise mixed up.
Yeah.
And I remember someone saying that, being smart is got a lot to do with your head, but being wise has a lot to do with your heart.
Yeah.
And you referenced that several times throughout your devotion. And that's what kind of reminded me of that, because you can be smart without being wise. And so it's a matter of shifting away from here and learning here
Yeah.
how to discern and how to filter the information that you're being dealt in life. And so it's just such a great reminder. I'm so appreciative of it. I thank you for that. And I really hope that it's inspired somebody to really evaluate. And if it's only one, that's why we do what we do. So thanks again, Alex. I really appreciate it.
I hope all of our listeners enjoyed it as well. We hope to see you again on Thursday here at Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration.